Hello and welcome back to STEAM with Steve. Today we're going to keep going with our algebraic adventures and we're going to look at how to substitute in negative values into algebraic expressions. So let's jump on in. So to start, when we use negative values, there are a whole heap of applications here. A really simple one we discussed in class is if you think of a Cartesian plane or a map, you might have negative directions that you need to move in. And by understanding how to use these negative values and substituting them into complex formulas, you can solve a whole heap of really neat stuff. So the lesson intentions for today, we want to understand the substitution of negative values into expressions. Then want to understand how to master the algebraic equations and then apply these to some real world little scenarios. So a quick little review, if x equals 5 and we want to find the value of y when we substitute into that equation, wherever there's an x we need to inject into it the 5. So this now becomes 2 lots of 5 plus 3, which then gives you 13. Now this is where it gets a little bit different. If we made x is equal to negative 3, what's the value of y when we substitute into this equation? Pretty easy, we do 2 lots of negative 3 plus the 5. So that gives us negative 1. So just pause the video, have a little explore with this guy and see how you go. Cool, so what you should have found is you would have put the negative 5 into wherever you saw the x, and we jam that inside of brackets. So 3 lots of negative 5 gives us negative 15, and then negative 15 minus 7 gives us negative 22. So first challenge, have a pause of the video, see if you can get these out. So what number is obtained when we x is equal to 5 and substitute into this equation? So 3 lots of 5 gives us 15. The next one we have 20 take away 12, which gives us 8. And the next one we have 10 for both a and b. So 10 plus 2 lots of 10, which gives us 30. Cool, so then the next example, we're going to have a little bit harder. So instead of just one variable, now we have two. So in this case here, wherever there's an a, we're going to inject in the negative 2, and wherever there's a b, we're going to sub in the negative 7. So this now becomes negative 2, wrapped around in brackets, minus 7. So minus negative and negative, when they're next to each other, hopefully we've picked up the pattern from the last lesson, and we need to add that together. So it's negative 2 plus 7. So it's the same as me taking $2, but then giving you back 7, which would be overall happy because you made $5. Cool. So have a pause of the video, see if you can do this one by yourself. Cool. So the next step here, wherever there's an m, we're going to put in a negative 5. Wherever there's an n, we're going to substitute in negative 3. So that's like that old game where you had the square hole, and you had to put the cube into it, the circle hole, you have to put the ball into it. That's all you're doing here when you're substituting those values in. So we've got y is equal to negative 4 times negative 5 plus negative 3. Which then gives us 17. So just pause the video, have a go at challenge number 2 and see how you go. So first one, a is equal to 4, b is equal to negative 3, and we're going to sub those values into each one of these. So it's 5 lots of 4 plus 4, so it gives us 24. The next one is 3 lots of negative 3, which gives us negative 9. The next one we've got 4 take away 3, which gives us 1. Down the bottom here, we've got 4 times negative 3 minus 4 plus negative 3. So 4 times negative 3 gives us negative 12. Negative 12 minus 4 gives us negative 16. Negative 16 minus 3 gives us negative 9. The next one here, we've got 2 lots of 3 times 4 plus 2 lots of negative 3. So that gives us 12 minus 6 in the bracket. And then we double that and we get 12. The next one over here, we've got 100 lots of 10 times 4 plus 10 times negative 3. So 10 times negative 3 is 30, so it's negative 30. And inside that brackets, we have to do 40 take away 30, which gives us 10. 100 take away 10 leaves us with 90. Down here, we've got 12 divided by 4 plus 6 divided by negative 3, which gives us 1. Then over here, we have 4 minus 3 divided by 3 plus the negative 3 at the end, which then gives us just negative 7. Then over here we've got 100 plus divided by 4 minus 3, which gives us 1. So then we get 100. Over here we then have 2 times negative 10 minus 3 times negative 6, which gives us negative 38. We have 2 times negative 7 minus 3 times negative 9, which gives us 13. And then the last one, we've got 2 times negative 4, 2 times negative 2 minus 3 times 9, which gives us negative 31. We can then also go a little harder, so we can have multiple values. So we can put in 3, and then this is where it gets harder. So if you're trying to do these in your head, highly recommend not to do that, because you're going to not get the grades that you're sort of looking for. So we sub that in, we get -3 minus 8 plus 2 minus 1, and then we just solve it. So -3 plus 8 is 5, and then 5 minus 2 gives us 3. Cool. Have a pause of the video to see if you can do this one by yourself. Rightio, so what we should have found is we do 6 times -2 minus 3 times -4 plus 5 times 6. Now by writing that, that's the hardest bit. Happy for you to grab a calculator if that's what the route you want to go, or you can go through and solve each part. So 6 times -2 is -12. Negative and negative makes a positive, so that's plus 12, and then you got 30 in the end. So those two terms at the start here actually cancel each other out, and you're left with just 30. Have a pause of the video to see if you can do these ones. So you've got the same expression, but we're just changing the values around. So we've got a is equal to 4, b is equal to 3, c is equal to 9. And we're going to inject that into the 4ab minus 2b plus 6c. So the first one gives you 48 minus 6 plus 54, which then gives you 96. The next one, we get 64 plus 4 plus 54, which gives you 122. The next one is just 24. The next one is this -38. Next one's 132. And the last one is 54. Cool. So quick little problem solving style question. If you had 3 consecutive numbers adding up to 18, what were the 3 numbers? This is pretty straightforward. There's a couple of different ways. We've talked about this in class, which was really, really cool to hear. So if all the numbers, so consecutive means in order. So for example, 1, 2, 3 are 3 consecutive numbers. Similarly, you could do, I don't know, 10, 11, 12. All right. Now, because it's up to 18, straight away, those 3 numbers have to be below 18. Right. Now, if you halve 18, they have to be below 9, because you're not going to get more numbers that add up to 9. Another way of thinking, because you've got 3 numbers, if you divide that by 3, you get 6. And then if you think about it, numbers could be on either side. So you could have 5, 6, 7, which also works. But algebraically, if we didn't know how to do that, or if the number was really, really big, what we could do is we can work out with algebra how to solve this. So the first number we would call x. So letting it equal to x. And then we would add the next number above it. Now, if you think about that, that term would be the same as x plus 1. So for example, 5 is the one after 4. And then the next number after that would be adding 2 to x. So for example, 6 would be the 2 after 4. And then we know all those add up to give me 18. So then we can actually solve this. And this is one of the powerful parts of algebra. So we get 3x plus 3 is equal to 18. We then subtract 3 from both sides. So then we've cancelled out that plus 3. So now we've got 3x is equal to 15. And the last bit is we want to divide both sides by 3. And then we get x is equal to 5. So now the numbers go from 5, and then it's 6, and then it's 7. So that's one way that you could solve that little problem solving question. So that's it from me. Hopefully you've picked up something with the substituting of negative values. The more you practice this, the better you're going to become at it. And that's pretty much the trick with this. Just remember, wherever there's a bracket, you're going to inject in those values in. So that's it from me. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. It does take a while to get this together. Please give us a like and subscribe, as it does help with that YouTube algorithm and getting the message out there of how to do math for year 8. Thanks again, and yeah, see you next time on STEAM with Steve. Adios.